he deserves all of his success, man. It's awesome to see him.
All right, we now bring on Ian Parker at Parker Cage Hero on social media, and he has a tiger over his shoulder. We see the prop. So Forrest Griffin has not seen Tiger King. Cody Merrow, our chief marketing officer, told me and Ken Flo our homework before the show this week was to watch Tiger King. I know you have watched the season now twice over. I'm going to start by saying this. Documentaries are not immune from being spoiled. So I'm like 2 or 3 episodes in, and the notion that you can't spoil a documentary upon further review is not accurate, right? I know what happened to one of these central characters because of a tweet from Daniel Cormier. I don't want to know what happened to that central character. So as far as I'm concerned, DC has spoiled it for me. Man, this is pretty disturbing through 3 episodes, Ian. What can you tell us on the Tiger King front?
Well, while I was on hold, I was jamming out to his hit single, I Saw a Tiger, and really gets me right here in the feels, you know? During this time, Joe Exotic is really getting me through this hardship. I got to tell you, it's obviously going to be my Halloween costume this year and maybe the next year over. Which character did he ruin for you? Because honestly, like, this thing is so fucking crazy that you're only on episode 3, like, and you're already kind of like, whoa, this is nuts. Yeah. It gets even crazier. Like, it's not even close. You haven't even touched the crazy yet.
Kenny, that's why I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, because I don't want to spoil it for people.
Let's go.
If you have yet to see Tiger King, may want to start fast forwarding by like 30 seconds. I'm giving you guys 2 minutes on Tiger King. Ken Flo. I mean, the 19-year-old being brought into the marriage, and I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm deeply disturbed during a time where I'm already pretty disturbed.
It's wild, dude. It is definitely wild. And just the characters in and around this scene. It's not only him. It's all these people that have cats in their stories and how weird they are. And just, I don't know. It's a completely different world out there. And, we were talking about reality shows and how Forrest was telling us he'd prefer to watch science fiction. Reality is way weirder than science fiction in a lot of ways, especially something like this. And I'm on I just finished episode 5, so I think I have 2 more episodes to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's only getting weirder, dude.
You want to know what bothers me the most, though, is that this whole time I could have got a fucking tiger for $2,000, and it bothers me that I got 2 dogs that. They're just not as cool as tigers. Can you imagine walking around down the street with like a 300-pound just tiger? Like, oh, this is Bob. He's cool. Don't touch his tail, but he's friendly. It's just crazy. The stories, the characters are amazing.
You are absolutely going to be Joe Exotic for Halloween this year.
I'm dressing up like him
I kind of
right
want to come trick-or-treating with over at the neighborhood of mansions over there in Parkland, Florida. And I'm sorry, but no, I want to come to Parkland. I want to trick or treat. I want to see you as Joe Exotic. I'm excited to talk about Tiger King.
Sure.
In the weeks ahead as we ingest more of it. But again, no spoilers out there, Daniel Cormier. I mean, come on. DC.
Was he posting? He was posting.
He goes
spoilers?
out of his way. It's like not like Colby Covington bad, but it's like he goes out of his way. He basically said, "Oh, this did or didn't happen to character X?" ? And it's like, come on, man.
Listen, in his defense, and I'm not the first one to defend DC in the situation, but this stuff's in the news too. So like if someone were to Google this is like current news also right now, which is wild. That's what's kind of crazy about this too.
All right. A lot of people think I should lay off at DC. So
that's fine. Well, no, I'm not saying that. You can lay it on all you want. He shouldn't have spoiled it, but it is in the news. But it's it's crazy.
Ian, we talked to Ray Longo pretty extensively about the Jon Jones situation. I don't want to belabor the point too much, but what was your reaction last Thursday when that news came down the pipe?
Well, when Ray spoke about this, had he just woken up, or was it, because I know that's a different Ray when he just rolls out of bed. I'd love to hear that one. But listen, my whole thing that I question here with someone like him, people keep saying, oh, he's got to get help. Yeah, but it's also really stupid. Like, we can't keep giving him this, like, get out of jail free card, no pun intended, because he's still kind of young and he's got mental issues. Yeah, but, you would think with someone with a team around him, and I don't blame the management. I don't know who to place blame on, but guys like LeBron James that are the biggest names in their sport with all the money and the accessibility to everything, They don't fuck up. They have people that drive them. Like, how hard would it have been to pay one of his friends $50,000 for the year to be his turtle to his Vinny Chase? Just something as simple as that. Why and how do you? I hate to laugh, but how do you do this when you're supposed to be on lockdown? Of all times, to be out driving around and popping the gun off. It's sad. It sucks. We'll see where this really goes. I just don't know how many chances he's going to really get. And if this is really it, because this could be, Kenny and I were talking about this off the record, they're going to test that bullet, the ballistics. And that gun may or may not be connected to a few other incidents in the area that they're looking at. And if that's the case, that's a whole different level of criminal activity, So
I do think, and again, I'm not a defender here. I do think it's simplistic when a lot of people say, oh, just hire a driver for $50K a year, because I do think Jon wants to just be able to go out. And obviously you need to be sober when you do it, but he just wants to put his gun in the car in the desert and just go out and be a dick or whatever, And I just think that, in a global pandemic, I don't know that your driver's going to be on call necessarily anyway. But I don't know. The whole thing is just sad. I got a tweet here, Ken Flo, from Jonathan Ordonez before we get back into the Khabib stuff. Running a gym during this global pandemic, strategies to get members back once everything is normal. I don't know if Jon Ordonez has a gym of his own, and I'm sure you and Jason Hunt are probably thinking about a lot of these strategies right now as you're counting down the days until you open the doors to that beautiful gym.
Thank you. There's so much we don't know, and all we could do is continue to keep the place as clean as possible and have the highest standards for cleanliness. And, whether it's the coronavirus or not, we do not allow people to come into the gym if they're not feeling well because of those situations. And I don't know, man. It's one of those things we're going to have to battle back to get certain members back. And who knows when this is actually done and over with, because I'm sure after people have been given the go-ahead to go back to their normal routine, the coronavirus is still going to be out and about. Who knows when we're going to have an actual vaccine for something like that. So it is a little bit worrisome. We are concerned, and all we could do is do our best to run the business, as we've been doing, perhaps with some higher, cleaning standards and things like that. But it's going to change the dynamic of a lot of businesses out there. Even I'm sure for people who have been working from home. I think this whole thing is going to change a lot of the ways that the nature of business is conducted from here on out.
So, Ian, I know there are people out there that have a problem when we even talk fights or talk about this fight happening on April 18th, but because it is still scheduled to go down and because Khabib Nurmagomedov is seemingly stuck in Russia, Justin Gaethje's name has now been injected into this mix. I guess I'll just say Tony Ferguson can't be competing for any more interim championships, right? Like, this dude needs to fight for an undisputed lightweight title, and the Gaethje fight obviously is not going to be that. As we sit here Monday afternoon, I don't know that either guy has signed, Ian, unless something happened over the course of the last hour. What do you think is the resolution, and what do you think happens or doesn't happen April 18th?
Man, I feel like our conversation last week shouldn't even have existed at this point, because I was so confident this was going to happen, but I should have known that it literally will take a fucking pandemic to keep this fight from happening between Tony and Khabib. Man, as much as I want to see the violence of Tony and Justin, I don't know what it does for Tony. To your point, the interim title, it doesn't make sense unless you give him the undisputed, because Khabib's going to be out because of Ramadan, at some point soon anyway. So he won't be able to fight until, what is that, October or November? At that point, you either push this fight back. Gaethje, I remember there was an interview, I forgot who did it, so forgive me, at the awards last year, and they offered him the fight with Tony on 4 weeks' notice, and he said no. As much as I want that opportunity, I can't do that to myself. Tony is. We talk about this. As Kenny said, he's a dark force. You really need real training to prepare yourself for that. And you'd think with Gaethje being that other version of a dark force, maybe he wouldn't. But, I read Dustin Poirier's out there, Masvidal, Usman, and then I just read that Woodley and Covington are willing to fight each other on last minute. I don't know if these guys are just throwing their names in the ring just to kind of be relevant, like in this time of lack of content. But at this point, I just say you push it back. Don't risk the fighter's health. Don't risk putting together something that isn't going to make sense in the long run. I'd hate to see either one of these guys get destroyed and kind of derail what type of future they really had, So, listen, I want Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson, but I just don't want it with zero training. So
Kenny, when we had Adesanya Romero just a few weeks ago, right, the same month in which we're in right now, maybe we were blind to just how imminent and dangerous a threat this was going to be. But don't you think promotionally that Justin Gaethje is the obvious next in line with respect to Conor McGregor or anybody else? But Gaethje, with the 3-fight winning streak in tow, you got to think some part of him was training for a date on April 18th. I'm not saying it's the ideal backdrop, but we mentioned earlier his teammate Sean Madden says he's been in the gym. I mean, don't you think the promotion put him on notice or on standby, or am I just speculating way too much?
I would think so. And as a guy who's in the top 5, anyone in any division, if you know a title fight is about to take place in a month or two, stay ready. I think that should just go without saying.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a good manager, you're telling your guys to stay ready during that time in case an injury or something crazy like this happens. If this fight goes down, I wouldn't be surprised again to see it at a different weight, at like 165 pounds, and maybe see it put down to a 3-rounder. Because again, they're not going to fight for a belt at this point. Yeah, you know, the interim belt, Tony has that. This is about just trying to get a fight out there for the fans. And for Gaethje, I'm sure he's pushing for a higher weight and less rounds. Fighting Tony Ferguson for 5 rounds at this point, knowing how Tony trains for a fight, is not a good idea for anybody taking a fight on short notice.
Ian Ali Abdelaziz manages both Khabib Nurmagomedov and Justin Gaethje. I know you've been on that side of things as a former MMA manager. Can't be a disadvantage for Gaethje, right, in terms of knowing exactly what's going on with Khabib at any given time?
No, it's a huge advantage of being part of that. That was a dominance MMA with Ali. You know, that stable, they got a lot of guys. And out of all those guys, there's only so many in the top 3 in a division that can really affect each other. And this was kind of, you know, if not the UFC, you know, preparing him, Ali had to have said to him, be like, listen, I might not be able to get Khabib out of Russia. So you're the only choice. You're the option, you know, unless Conor is going to come out of the blue and surprise us, which there's no way you let Conor fight on short notice with the amount of promotion you can get behind that. You don't waste a Conor marketing opportunity there. So I think to your point, that is the only point, is with all the preparation you can have, inside source, secret heads up, having Ali there as part of the manager. Yeah, that might be the key that we aren't really seeing yet, but yeah, that could be it.
All right, and I'll let you go on this, Ian, unless you got anything else on Tiger King on the way out. You know, I don't want to disappoint you and not give you a wide enough platform to talk about that show.
It's okay.
But it seems like because so many options could be off the table, everything is seemingly on the table right now. We're hearing maybe Jorge Masvidal and Kamaru Usman could potentially fight on April 18th. I mean, it seems like this is such a unique circumstance that you have all these high-profile fighters who certainly make a lot to show, who are offering themselves up for April 18th. And we don't know anything in terms of matchups right now as we sit here 20 days out, but we could be looking at a super card for the ages if, in fact, they are able to make this card happen somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, I'm just curious to who's really been able to train fully and stay ready. And, you know, like in Kamaru Usman, I don't think he's ever taken a short notice fight. You know, I don't know if Masvidal has in the last few years either. And, you know, again, you're talking about fights that are the UFC's key to profit. That's to me what's crazy. I think if you're going to do this, I don't mind seeing Tyron Woodley and Kobe Covington take that spot. They're not going to be one of the biggest, you know, marketing moneymakers out there, but it's still a very strong fight in a division that could have title implications, not, you know, when this whole thing is all said and done. So I think that fight, if those guys are really ready, just because Woodley was going to fight Leon Edwards, what was it, last weekend? I'm so messed up on days at this point. I really have no idea. I missed my garbage guy this morning because I didn't even realize what day it was. But
it's not like growing up in Massachusetts where you go to the fucking Wellesley dump and dump your shit. There's no dump down here.
No dump down
Ken Flo, right? You know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
There, Ken Flo, right?
And my HOA is a bunch of assholes. I can't even leave the pail outside. I got to keep it in my garage. My garage fucking stinks right now, so I got to wait till Wednesday. I didn't even realize what day it was. But you know what? I think Covington Woodley could be the backup plan. Or listen, if Tony Ferguson wants to be a complete psychopath and go up to 170 and fight Tyron Woodley, I'm good with that too, because I know Woodley at least is ready.
Right. Hey, Ken Flo, you remember growing up on Sunday, going to the fucking dump with your dad, dumping your shit? They got free books there, right? No?
They had to scan the sticker on the windshield, make sure you're a resident, and then you go in, you dump the recycling. I remember.
That's a thing? Wow, that's awesome. And by the way, one of our listeners wrote on YouTube, they may have found someone of equal celebrity status as Ken Flo from Dover.
Interesting. Who's that?
The band Dispatch. Have you guys heard of the band Dispatch?
My friend was the singer in that band, Chad.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because there's 14 people in that location.
Yeah. Hey, also,
had no idea.
Who we forgot about, and this was not very well known, but I used to drive by his house and see if I would spot him. Dominique Wilkins, when he played for the Boston Celtics, had a house in Dover. Yeah.
So there have been a lot. I mean, Dominique Wilkins might be the highest profile, but Ken Flo, as you know, there have been a lot of those professional athletes who have settled out there in Dover. You're the rooted guy, though.
Okay.
And don't give me this Dispatch bullshit, right? Great band at the time. I know I got some of their songs on my phone, but
there's only one song.
I mean, they don't bleed that royal blue and white like Ken Flo does. Dover, Sherburne High School.
One of our first comments, someone threw that out there. I go, that's great that there was at least a response to that.
Speaking of which, we got to get out of here, but Manscaped, a lawnmower 3.0 with the ceramic blade is going to our best YouTube commenter of the week. We're going to give out another one this coming week. But Ian Parker, who is the winner week 1?
I'm going to give a quick shout out to Jonathan Correa, who said Ken Flo, the Duke of Dover, the tickler of balls.
The Duke of Dover.
He came in 3rd place. Wisco Van Life, my grass is beginning too long. My neighbors are getting pissed. But the winner is going to go to Oscar Silva, who said, when you mow your lawn, the tree looks taller. My tree needs a growth spurt. Help me, Ian. So, Oscar, we're going to help that tree grow. We're going to help it sprout. John, Oscar Silva gets the lawnmower 3.0. Help this man turn that stump into a sprouted tree. Let's go.
Oscar Silva for the win. Get in touch with Ian Parker on social media. He'll find you. You guys will figure out a way to connect, and we will get that lawnmower 3.0 in the mail. All right, we got to get on out of here. Thank you to our guests, Forrest Griffin, Raymond Peter Longo, Ian Parker. Thanks to TJ DeSantis and Maestro Cody Mero putting it all together. We are back with you next Monday. Maybe we'll have finality in terms of a main event for UFC 249. If this thing ends up in Las Vegas, though, I got to hit the road soon. So hopefully we get some answers here with that for Ken Flo, Ian, TJ, and the rest. Jon Anik saying so long for now. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget, AnikFlorianPodcast.com is now live. 15% off your entire order for the next week with promo code AFLaunch. We appreciate the support. Obviously, some of those proceeds going to the World Health Organization. Until next week, thank you all for watching, for listening. See you next week. Go later.